Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. In this series of video, we'll be seeing and discussing about the question bank and tips of answer given for the computer network subject 21EC53 fifth semester under VTU syllabus. So in this video, we'll be seeing and discussing about the module 2 question bank with answers. Come, let's go into the video. Please do like, share, subscribe and comment. First question, categorize the services of data link layer. So the module 2 of CCN deals with data link layer and the protocols used in the data link layer. So first question, services of data link layer are, these are the main services provided by the data link layer. Framing, that is in data link layer, the data that has been transmitted, we call it as frames. So how the data is framed is what framing deals with. And the services, flow control, error control, congestion control. So these are the three controls that has been provided. Flow control ensures that there is no congestion taking place in the transmission line. The flow of frames from one end to the other end remains proper. That is, first frame sent, it should be received by the receiver. Second frame will be sent, it will be received by the receiver. Only after the acknowledgement, the next datas or the frames will be sent. That is how flow is maintained. Error control, it checks for the checksum whether there is any error generated because of loss of data or damage of data. So that will be controlled by error control. Congestion control is it carefully watches that there is proper flow control happening in the network. Once the flow of the data or frames is proper, congestion control doesn't occurs. But if suppose if there is any congestion over traffic occurring in the transmission line, then that will be controlled by congestion control. So these are the services provided by the data link layer. Moving on to the next question, discuss about the protocols in the data link layer. So these are the two protocols in the data link layer, that is connectionless and connection oriented protocols. So what is connectionless? Connectionless itself determines the explanation. That is, the frame sent from one end to the other end will not have any relation. Any relation means it is independent. Each and every frame that is sent from one end is independent of the other frame. It does not know any information sent at the other frame. That is connectionless. Connection oriented is nothing but a logical virtual connection will be established between the two ends, and then all the frames will be dependent on each other. Yes, so that is, we call it as connection oriented. In that you have three phases. One is setup phase, transfer phase and tear down phase. Setup phase is nothing but it is a kind of connection establishment done. Transfer phase is nothing but data transfer that is taking place. Frame is getting transferred from one end to the other end, and tear down phase is where the connection is getting terminated. Yes, moving on to the next question. Demonstrate in brief about the process of ALOHA. So ALOHA, CSMA, CA, CSMA, CD, these are all some types of algorithms that has been used to make sure that the collision is being detected and the data are transmitted from one end to the other end successfully. So here for ALOHA, you have two types of ALOHA. One is pure ALOHA and slotted ALOHA. So pure ALOHA is the diagram for the representation for your pure ALOHA is this. That is, it is going to determine in each of the station the frames will be sent. The boxes that is represented is frames, and you have to check whether there is any collision happening. If not, if there is no collision, that frames only will be sent to the other end. And slotted ALOHA is each of the station will have different slots across the transmission line, and each slots will have the frames accommodated in these slots. And if suppose, say here you can see slots 3, he is having two frames from station 1 and station 4, it means that it is colliding with each other. So each of the slot should have only one frame, then only it will be successfully sent to the other end. So flow of ALOHA is being determined by this flow diagram. You have to draw this flow diagram, explain how the data is being sent, like what is K, what is TP, what is K is greater than K max. All these representation has to be explained, and then vulnerable time also must be explained. So vulnerable time for your pure ALOHA is twice your TFR. TFR is nothing but transmission line, twice your average transmission time, and slotted ALOHA will have vulnerable time which is equal to TFR, which is equal to vulnerable TFR. Yes. So moving on to the next question, summarize in brief about the process of CSMA. CSMA, this is nothing but it is going to detect the collision, whether there is a collision happening in the transmission line. So there are three methods that has been followed: one persistent, non-persistence, and p-persistence. Here, this is the diagram that determines how the frame has been propagated from one end to the other end. So these are the different stations. So from station 1, station A, at time t1, the data is getting transmitted. If there is any collision, it will be happening in the black area where both the signals is being transmitted from different ends. And here you can see B is sensing that there is some data that is being transmitted. C is sensing that data is transmitted. So the vulnerable time of CSMA is nothing but it is equal to the propagation time. So here in one persistent, it means that the frame is sent, it will wait for one particular time to see whether there is any other frame that has been sent to avoid collision. In non-persistence also, it checks for whether the complete slot is free, then only the frame is sent. P-persistence, it is waiting for double the time to check that there is no frame sent. So these are the three methods that has been used for the process of CSMA. Moving on to the next question, interpret how the frames are detected and avoided using CSMA CA. So CSMA CA, CSMA collision avoidance, CSMA collision detection. So collision avoidance, so collision detection is, this is the flow chart for collision detection. For avoidance, this is the complete chart. So it will determine if k is equal to 0, you're going to apply the persistence method that we saw in the other slide. One persistent, p persistent, non-persistent, any of the method will be followed, and you will check for collision. If it is detected, then a jamming signal will be sent, and then a random number will be created, waited, and again the frame will be sent. If suppose here in avoidance, it will be waiting for one particular interframe space, that is, it is one slot will be completely avoided to send to avoid the collision, and then a random number will be generated, then the request to send message will be sent by the client, then timer will be set, checked for collision, again it will wait for the some time, then the frame will be sent, so that it will completely avoid the collision. So these are the two flowcharts that you have to draw and explain for CSMA CA and CD. Please be stay tuned for more information. Thank you.